And a big good morning to you, a Saturday morning, Easter weekend, and we're back. They let us come back another week, Jay.
It's amazing to believe that they let us come 2 weeks in a row, right?
Wow. How about that? In case you missed it, we debuted something special last week. It's the J&J Burk Home Show. Each and every Saturday morning at this time for about 9 to 9:30, about 30 minutes just talking about your home. And I think last week we introduced most who didn't know, and I said, who doesn't know who Jay Burk is? But, I had to be real about this because we have surrounding areas and talked about your dad and how he started this business some time ago, and then you've taken that over since he's passed, and a great job of filling in his footsteps. We talked a little bit about that and legacy, and we also talked about why this show, why now. And so I'll do that again, kind of recap a little bit. What made you think of coming up with the J&J Burk Home Show?
Well, we constantly have people, that we're known for heating and air conditioning in our market, but we have so many people that call us wanting to know more about who do I use for specific things? We don't know how to do this. Do you do plumbing? Do you do electrical? Do you do roofing? Who do you know?
Really?
And
so you get some of those calls?
I get a lot of them. And when I'm out on actually meeting people out, when I'm out doing estimating, people will say to me, we have a sheetrock problem. We've had a leak in our ceiling. Do you have somebody that fixes sheetrock? Just things all the time. Or we're going to sell our house. Who's a good realtor in Lawton, or what bank do you use? It's gone from all of that, and so I thought, I enjoy referring great companies and great people, and we have some great people in our community, and so my thought was, what a better way than to talk about what people are asking me all the time, which is things about their home, and we're in their home all the time, and I've got some great friends here, and people I've just met over the last few years that are big into home improvement, and home specialty kind of things, that we all think about, but we don't know who to call. So my thought was, let's do something that's a little different. I've never heard it in Lawton before, and I thought, and in the surrounding areas, and I thought, I think this is something people want to know about.
Well, it's a question that everyone asks. Because who doesn't care about their home and want to, make it the best it can, and whether we need to upgrade and we talk about efficiency, and we're going to get to that in a minute about the importance of efficiency, making the best for your home, because who wants wasteful dollars, this and just little things that can add up, that can make a big difference in a long run. But let's talk first and foremost, because, we don't want it to, that's why I say I'm glad that the show exists, that it's in a broader scope than, J&J Burk, he's heat and air, and that's all we're going to talk about forever. Amen. And no, that's not really the case, because, there are other things that we can talk about. So let's talk about first and foremost, though, your expertise about that, because we got into a little bit last week about rebates, and we talked about, before we start getting into all the incentives that we can find from these companies and through you, is that it starts off with really a diagnosis of your home. And we found out last week that for you, that service is not going to cost you anything. It's not a service call. And then take us through the step. Okay, I really want to know where I am at with my system at my house. I'm calling you up. Hello, Jay. Take it from there.
Yeah, basically what we do is we come out, or I actually come out with some of my sales team, and we actually come out and we look at what your house is, what it's like. Maybe it's an older home, maybe it's a newer home. We see them all. But we talk about houses that have concrete slabs or subfloors, where they have openings under their house and their ductwork under their house. And then we have ductwork in the attic, and we have, units in the garage or units inside your house, where your heater's at, or maybe your heater's in your attic. And so we do an evaluation of everything that you have heating and air wise. We also evaluate your windows, your doors, your insulation value that's in your attic, blown insulation, as well as your walls. And we look at all that kind of stuff. We look at leaky stuff around your windows and doors and fireplaces and all the things you don't think about. Things that most of us thought, I never knew that my house leaked like that. And so we have a couple of tests we do. We do a blower door test, which basically... Blower door test, yeah. It's basically a door that we put on your front door. We open your front door, and we put this plastic type door on there, and it has a big fan on it. It basically sucks all of the air out of your house. We're pushing all the air out of your house. So we make about a 20-something mile an hour wind, basically outside, trying to suck into the side of the home. And so we're looking for leaks around windows, doors, fireplaces are a huge leaker. Most people don't know that. And I go to people's homes, and these are not things that say, oh my gosh, Jay's going to tell me I need all new windows, I need all new doors. No, that's not it at all. Sometimes it's just as simple as I need to caulk. Over time.
And you'll tell them that? I mean, that's what you're going to do.
Absolutely.
Okay. And how much does that cost?
That's free. I mean, the whole time that we're out there, the inspection of your unit. And if your unit doesn't need to be replaced, I'm going to tell you. You're fine. But if you have a problem with HVAC, any kind of heating, air conditioning, ventilation, we want to make sure that your ductwork's right. So we're going to also do a test on your ductwork besides just the leakage of your home. We're going to see how much. So we basically use a machine called a duct blaster, and we actually.
I love that you got names for everything.
Absolutely.
Now it's a duct blaster.
Absolutely,
okay.
yeah.
Quack, quack.
Yeah. How many ducts
Not that
do you
kind
have?
of duct.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But who would have thought years ago that you would inflate ductwork and see how much leakage you had? And people
so
don't.
This is relatively new.
Well, I would say probably in the last 10 years.
Okay.
The technology has been there, but in the last 5 years or so, it's become something that's become common in some states like Texas. Now, that is a requirement for you to have a heating and air system changed. You must do the duct blaster test, and you must pass it when you install a unit. So I think it'll go nationwide. I think eventually it'll be in Oklahoma. It'll be everywhere. And it's good because you buy a high-efficiency unit, but it's only as efficient as your ductwork is.
Right.
If your ductwork leaks all the heat and air into your attic or into your walls or under your house.
And you have found that. You and I have talked about a case where you went out and that was exactly the case. I mean, you said, well, what? I got this brand new unit. I bought it just a couple of years ago. It's this should be no problem. And, well, it isn't a problem with your unit. It's a problem with your ductwork.
Well, we went to a guy's house just this week, and he has a geothermal unit.
Oh,
and
the ground there.
Yeah, and I mean, these things are super efficient, and he goes out and he spends all this money on geothermal, but his ductwork, he left his original ductwork. And so we do a test on his ductwork, and he's leaking 100%. We could not get a reading on his ductwork.
Every bit of it was going up in the attic.
Yeah. I mean, you may still get some air out of your vents because when they say it's leaking 100%, you may still feel some air coming out of your vents.
Right.
But you don't realize that you're losing all your efficiencies going into the attic. And then not only does it leak and it's not efficient, but it's bringing all that attic dust and the insulation dust and just all kinds of dirt and dust. And people will say, especially the wives, tell me all the time, I've dusted 100 times a week and it's not enough. And for years I thought, oh, it's because we live in Southwest Oklahoma.
Yeah.
The wind blows.
Dust.
Yeah.
No stranger here.
I mean, come on. I mean, but basically what it really turns out to be is that, we're doing it to ourselves. We're leaking it in through our ductwork. We're sucking it in and we're pushing it through the house. And so constantly people are saying, my allergies, my eyes itch. There's fiberglass in insulation. And a lot of times people will, they'll say, my eyes itch all the time, no matter what I do at home. I take allergy medicine as soon as I get home, and I'm a zombie. And what can I do? And we go in, and sometimes it's not replacing duct, it's just sealing it. We go up there and we seal it. And it's not a huge expense. It's not some major expense that you're going to spend, thousands and thousands of dollars sealing.
And I think that's what most people's fear is. But, I think we talked a bit about this last week. It's very in great comparisons to your car about not getting the oil change. It's a very small service. It doesn't cost, but it extends the life of your vehicle. Everybody knows this, common knowledge. You go without an oil change for any length of time, you're going to have seize-ups. You're going to have an engine that doesn't work. So everybody understands the maintenance thing, but I think that you've at least convinced me that it's not always you're going to show up and it's going to be a total replacement every single time. It just may be maybe something that you have to tweak here and there, and you're going to find out what exactly they need.
And they're going to know then what, and that's one good thing about having some of the rebates through PSO, through the Power Forward program, and CenterPoint Energy through the gas program if they have gas furnace. Those programs help you, and they pay for these things. They pay for you to replace.
Now tell me how that happens. How are they going to pay? I mean, you I guess this is in the back of my mind when you think, what is the catch? Yeah. Nothing's for free. What is the real deal here?
Well, and to be honest with you, that's what everybody thinks. You go out and you say, well, PSO is going to give you $3,300.
No, they're not.
And they're thinking, what? They're going to make me buy a $50,000 unit because
right.
I'm going to have to do all these things and new windows and new doors and I might as well tear my house down. No, it's they give you up to $5,000 from PSO to help your house become more energy efficient. And if you don't qualify, if your house is not leaking and your duct's not leaking and it's, the test doesn't show that, they're not going to give you the money. They're not going to do it. They're going to say, no, I'm sorry, you don't qualify.
Okay.
We can't save you money. But if we can save you money, if we can save you a minimum of 25%, which the average is about 40% in savings in utilities, gas and electric, if we can do that for you, we're willing to pay to help you do that. And so, they give you money. Just, it's when we do an invoice, let's say the invoice is $5,000 and they give you $3,000. Well, you would only pay $2,000. They pay the $3,000 to me to do the work. So it comes off the invoice instantly. You don't have to wait for a check in the mail. You don't have to fill out
90 days. The check is in the mail.
Yeah.
And you're calling and everyone's calling. Yeah.
So some people think, oh gosh, I'm gonna have to pay that money up front and then I'll get a check in 6 to 8 weeks or something like that. No, I'm the one that'll get a check in 6 to 8 weeks. That's how they send it to me. But honestly, we've never had these programs before. I mean, in the last few years.
When did they exist? When did they start?
They started probably 3 or 4 years ago was when the actual program started. But now they do it where they have a third-party tester. Once we go out and we check it out and we say, this is what we think is your problem, and we're 99.9% of the time we're 100% right on what we think PSO will give them. And there's been a few times that they said, hey, they can get this if they'll want to do that. And a customer will agree to do that. But they do a third-party tester, who's the only third-party tester used in Southwest Oklahoma. He comes out, he does the test for them just like we did. And he says, yep, Jay's right. You qualify for this money. And then they put that money basically in a savings account for your home. And then we have 60 days from that day to once we complete the projects, they come back and they test it out. So they're going to test it one more time to make sure it meets all the criteria, that the right unit was put in, the right efficiency, the right amount of insulation, that the duct is not leaking anymore, or it's been replaced and it's not leaking and it's sealed, and all of those things, not counting your city inspections and all that we've always done. So this just makes it a way more legit kind of a program.
Legit is the key word that you use, because as you were telling me this, I love the checks and balances of it, because it's not just you by yourself telling it. You get a third party that has no interest in it. They say, yes, I'm validating that exactly what he says, and then turn around after the job's complete to then go around and say, yes, this is exactly what's. So it's not like, okay, we put something lesser. I don't mean to put those images in people's minds, but that's the fear that everyone has. And I think that whoever was brilliant to set up this program, that it's got to have its checks and balances like this, because you're really looking for the customer and the consumer as far as efficiency, because that's what they came to us for. They didn't come to you to buy a new unit, to do this, to get that. They want to save in their home. That's just plain and simple. And then you get a happy customer, and then PSO's happy, and then of course the energy saving, all the that fills in the blank after that. But that's great. But you also say too that there's only so much money they've got for that program, and that's why you get a jump on it, because then, if you call, I'll just wait till the end of the year, and then that money's gone, right?
Yeah, last year we ran out in August, and this year we have less money.
Wow.
So they've put money in for this year and the following 2 years, but when the money's gone for the year, they don't start it back until January the following year.
Okay.
And so they get refunded every year by the Corporation Commission from the state. That's who funds it. And so it's an incentive to save utilities, and so instead of building bigger power plants and using more on the energy grid, the whole idea was to save utilities. And so, but to be real honest, it not only has it helped my business just because of the fact that it made people believe in us more, because we had guys going out before, and I'm not saying that we were being told sometimes by manufacturer, well, you can save up to 40% if you put this air conditioner in. Well, you go to someone's home and you say, well, you can save up to 40%. And they're like, oh, well, that doesn't really mean 40%. What are you really saying to me? Well, if your duct works right, then you can save 40%. But now we can say, this is how much you're going to save. And they give them a report. It's a home energy audit for their house. And that's part of this testing in and testing out process. And they show you what you paid before, and they showed you what you're going to pay now. And so they tell you exactly how much money you're going to save because of these things that you did. We have people that are saving thousands of dollars a year in utilities, and why pay it if you don't have to? I mean, I just and I, when we first started doing it a few years back, when we first started doing it, I thought, oh, they'll save them. Some of these houses I'd go to were fairly new, 9-10-year-old house, and they would save them $600 or $700 a year. And we're not talking about a house that's
right,
5,000
much older,
or 5,000 square feet. We're talking about 900,000 square foot house, 1,200 square foot house. Normal homes. I mean, we're not talking about these monstrosities that some people build, and we do those too. But that have 4 or 5 systems on their house. We're talking about the normal house that we see around this area.
You're listening to the J&J Burk Home Show. Going to be this our second week, actually. Last Saturday was our debuted part of the program. If you'd like to send in a question, and we'd love to hear from you because you may have questions. In fact, after I do this, make sure that you tell them your phone number, your website, and all the rest of that stuff. Because I say, who is this? Who is this guy talking? I want to get a hold of him. Who is that guy? Okay. J&J Burk, of course, you can call them
at 1-800-AIR-REPAIR. Or you can visit us online as well at jjburk.com.
Okay. And then if you have something for our show that we'd like to use, and whether we can't get to it this week, we can maybe get to it next week. You can, if you don't want to do the phone route, you can go to J&J Burk Home Show at townsquaremedia.com and then just fill out all the, here's my question for Jay. Here's a question for Jay. And Jay may use that. And we're going to have opportunities that we're going to be able to give away some items each and every week if you kind of go along with us as far as, and so you can do it that way, email, that's the safe way, J&J Burk Home Show at townsquaremedia.com, or you can call 581-3605. That's 580-581-3605. It's a designated line. A lady just comes on and says, this person is not in right now. Leave a message. Just tell us your question, and then, we'll go from there, and there'll be an opportunity for us to be helpful in that way as well. So I wanted to make sure we get that out, that you are listening to the J&J Burk Home Show here on Saturday morning. So I know that your staff got together after week one and talking about, okay, what if I was a listener, what I want to know? And so we've talked about great rebates, and I think now is the time. We talked about before summer, we talked before these rebates end. This is a great opportunity to get that test. It won't cost you anything, but give us some tips. I'm going to put you on the spot. How can you make my home more efficient?
Well, it's and stuff that obviously that a lot of the stuff that we do, that if you'd asked me a few years ago, Jay, do you do insulation? I would have said no. Jay, do you seal fireplaces and windows and doors and seal doors that have where your furnace or your hot water heater's inside your home? Do you seal those doors to make sure that air coming from the attic's not coming down into your home? I would have said no. Because we didn't do that. And with PSO and with the things that we've learned through the Power Forward program, we now do all of that. And so there's a lot of things you can do. But one of the things that we see when we are doing the testing is, and everybody's talking about it, is the standard bulbs, changing your standard bulbs to CFLs or compact fluorescent lighting. These bulbs are for now, and some of these bulbs you can get 20 and 30-year life now on the LED lights. I mean,
it is amazing,
unbelievable to me. I mean, I may
never have to change a bulb again.
I may not be here when I change that bulb. But anyway, you can change the old ones. And somebody asked me the other day when I went to a home that the lady said, I saw them at Lowe's or Home Depot or wherever, and I said absolutely. And she said, do I need to have an electrician change these for me? No. A lot of these lights, you can take down your existing can lights. And the old can lights are the ones that leak so horribly bad. And almost all of us have can lights in our homes somewhere. And so they now make it where you just screw this new bulb. You take the old can light down. You don't have to unwire it or do anything like that. It has a screw in. You screw it in, and that whole thing snaps up in there, and it's completely sealed. So you no longer get any air from the attic. You don't get the hot air. And obviously, the old bulbs get really, really, really hot. Mm-hmm. And so they suck the cold air up through that and take it into the attic and take it on out of your house when you're trying to heat and cool. So what a better way to seal these off. These are 100% sealed. And so number one, I think, is a lot of people, that's something that you can do on your own. Yes, we do it now, but it is changing those bulbs. Insulating in your attic is huge. Saving up to 30% in your attic, just keeping a blanket basically above your house. Also insulating if you have a house that has a subfloor, that has, you have the opening under your house where you have the vents and everything's under the house. we have spray foam. We spray foam underneath the house, and it basically seals your home up. We have homes now that are actually foamed, Eric, the entire home, the exterior of the home, when they're building it. It's actually the interior of the home, but basically the walls, the whole envelope of the house is sealed with spray foam. The walls, the ceiling, and you don't put blown-in insulation anymore. You don't blow any insulation in the walls. It's all foam. So these houses are very, very efficient. But even just doing blown insulation, let's say you already have some insulation and you want to know, well, what's enough? Well, if you have anything less than, if you for sure have less than 5 or 6 inches, you need to invest in this instantly. It'll save you 30% in utilities. But you need 14 inches of insulation from your sheetrock in your attic up. And I tell people all the time, if you don't know and you're worried about getting your attic, call me. I'll come tell you. We'll talk about it. And it's not that expensive to do. We blow it in all the time. But you want 14 inches of insulation in your attic. And that makes it R38, which will save you about 30% in utilities. Just insulating.
Yeah. Well, because that's where it's going out. I think realistically, a lot of us don't want to do it. But then, we want the savings.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. But we don't realize that it's just small things that we can do. Also, insulating and sealing your doors and windows. A lot of times, we've all looked at, and I did it in my house. I went around after we started doing this and thought, okay, do I have any leaky doors?
Right.
And I did. I could see a little small bit of light coming through my door. And I thought, oh, that's not that big a deal. Well, then when we did the blower door on my house.
You did the blower door test. Okay.
Yeah, it felt like a tornado coming through that hole. And I thought,
wow.
Oh, okay, that little 1/4-inch gap meant a lot to me, financially, because constantly heat or cold is coming in and out of that hole. And so you can get the kits. We have the kits that you can put on metal doors or wood doors to totally seal them right and to make it where that door is sealed properly. And they're not hard to do. But a lot of people say, I don't want to do it, Jay. We want you to do it. We will do it. We'll come and do it for you. I also think that a lot of people don't realize in Oklahoma, our attics get to 150, 160 degrees in the summertime.
I've been there a time or two in the summer.
You don't want to be
there.
It's
a quick exit. No. You don't. Immediately. It's like a sauna. It's a free sauna if you want it.
Used to in the day when I actually installed units, I was skinny. I'm not skinny anymore, but
you will be when you do this.
You won't take you long. But people adding attic fans is huge. And used to, we had the turbines and the whole bit. And that's just a thing of the past, really. I mean, that nobody is putting those on anymore. The old round turbines, eventually they wear out and they start squeaking. You can hear them in the middle of the night, squealing through the neighborhood,
Puts me to sleep.
Your neighbor comes by. Would you stop that thing? And but now you can add solar fans that are on your attic. And these solar fans, they have, again, solar operated, so you don't have to worry about wiring them up. The fans are so quiet. And they're not that big. You can truly put them in a place where people don't even know they're on your home. But they were operated off a thermostat. Comes on when it needs to, year round if it needs to. Because we have some days, this winter, which we didn't have much of a winter, we've had some days that were pretty warm.
Right.
And so your attic gets up above 80 degrees. We want that attic fan to come on and to let that heat out of that attic. And so those are just some things. But we also talked about obviously new HVAC systems, can cut your utilities in half. And so that's another one of our things. But, I've got a list of a mile of things that we've been able to tell people that were common sense things that they can do today in their home to help them out.
Okay, so call J&J Burk.
Absolutely. At 1-800-AIR-REPAIR.
Okay, we're going to come back and we got an employment section. We're going to talk a little bit about an opportunity for jobs. So we're going to talk about that as well as how to make your home efficient as we continue on with the J&J Burk Home Show right here on KLO 101. All right, back here at the Home Show here at KLO 101. It's the J&J Burk Home Show each and every Saturday morning at this time from about 9:30 or so. And this is our second week, so I was glad to be back and visit with you. You did briefly, you had this home show last week, literal home show at the Great Plains Coliseum. How'd that go?
Oh, it was great. It was very busy. We met a lot of nice people and actually talked to people that actually heard the show and listened to the show, came by and said, talk to me a little bit more about what we're doing. And so we had a lot of people. We went to a lot of homes this last week trying to talk to people about exactly what we talked about last week.
Very good. We talked about an employment section briefly. You have an opportunity of employment. So tell us a little bit about what it is and what they need to do.
Well, we think we're a great place to come and work, and we have a great atmosphere, of a family atmosphere. We don't have 1,000 employees, so we're not quite that big yet. So But we do take care of our employees, and we consider them family. And so a lot of my employees have been with me for a lot of years. But we are looking for installers and with journeyman installers. If you are licensed and you already have a journeyman's license to install heating and air equipment, we are looking for you to come in. We're also looking for, we're in the process of hiring another customer service representative, somebody that answers phones and helps us schedule some stuff. And so those two positions are open right now. But if they just come in person and apply, we would love that. We are definitely, and we're going to hire some people here in the next week or two.
Great opportunities, and you can drop by. How do you want them to do? How to contact you in that way?
Yeah, they can come by my office at 2012 Hoover, and drop by and fill out an application, bring in the resume if they have one, and schedule an appointment to come in and sit down with me, and we'll see if we can't make you part of our team.
Pass that along, man. Growing.
That's right.
Growing.
That's right.
And you guys are busy. So how many you had personal calls that you did this last week? You were telling me.
Yeah,
how many?
I did 17 estimates this last week. Yeah, I'm tired.
Well, it's the time of the year, though. So I mean, this is probably smart. I mean, it's starting to warm up a little bit. Springtime. Hey, remember our two ways to contact us if you have a question. We'd love to use your question on the air next week. So go to J&J Burk Home Show at townsquaremedia.com. Just do that right on the web and just send out a question, and we'll be able to get in contact with you, answer your question, then maybe even use that question on the air because maybe someone else was going to ask the same question. Or you can call direct 580-581-3605. It's just a designated number for this show. We'll record that and possibly play that next week, 581-3605. Now, everybody that either submits an email request or a phone call will go in for a drawing, and the prize will be?
The prize is going to be a free duct cleaning for the entire home, and that's about a $750 value.
You are kidding me.
Nope.
Wow. We can just have me win.
You can win.
Okay. I'm winning. I'm the winner.
You can just tell Kay, please send in something.
Please,
now.
there it is. That's cool. So $700 value. Okay, now you want that email again. It's at J&J Burk Home Show at townsquaremedia.com or call 581-3605. Jay, that's about it for this week's show. Just like that, man. It was quick.
Wow.
Easy. We're going to have opportunities next week, and I know we've got special guests on the horizon, either from PSO, with AEP,
yes.
And then Centerpoint Energy, those people that will be able to come in and comment, and they can give us some suggestions about the same thing about how to help us out with saving us in our home, and who doesn't want to do that, right?
Absolutely.
All right. We'll see you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel, I guess. So Jay and I will help you out with the J&J Burk Home Show right here on KLAW 101.